Guess who's back? Back
Jack.
again. we're all back again. I'll tell you what though, yeah. You think international break, yeah, it'll be all thingy. I think the way Jazz has got my diary, I think I'm even more busier than on the international break. He's literally gave us a list. We're doing this, we're doing that, and it's like, all right, boss, you're the boss. I'll let you do it. But before, how are you doing though, Mike? You good?
Very good, mate. Yeah, still buzzing, mate. You know, because I come out and give you a big hug afterwards. You know, I mean, I'm just still buzzing about this, mate. Honestly.
Yeah. I loved it when you gave me a hug. I think that was the highlight of the day, to be honest, mate. Nah, that day went. Obviously, I've not really spoke to you since then. Did you get home and everything all right?
Bit late, mate. I had to have a couple of beers. Didn't get home till about 12 o'clock. Past 12.
Mike was that later than me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Come on, mate.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No,
Late
that's all
train
good.
back to Basingstoke, mate. Was a late train back to Basingstoke.
Oh, you only live once, Mike. You only live once.
Yeah.
Right, James, how are you, sir? Though, are you good?
Yeah, I'm all good, man. All good.
Yeah. Obviously, Mike, I know this is an appreciation night, but bit of sad news about Ogbonna today, wasn't it?
Very, mate. Yeah, we're gonna miss the guy. It's been great for us, hasn't he? He's been absolutely brilliant. But hey, it's one area I think we can cover. But hey, I'd sooner see him there. But we're just gonna have to do with that. And we knew these things were going to happen, didn't we? We just knew it was going to crop up somewhere. It's a damn shame because I like Oggy and he's been doing really well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Right, so gentlemen, the reason why we're here, all the other shows seem to be a success, and obviously I've had yous on my panel with your trivia and stuff like that and your knowledge. The player who I picked tonight is a player. When I started speaking, they went, "Oh yeah, he was a really good player," but another player, Steve Lomas, who didn't really get the praise he deserved. Mike, do you agree with that?
Definitely, mate. Yeah, he was one of my favourites at the time. I loved him because he was a no-nonsense player. He just give it everything.
Yeah.
You know, West Ham fans, as we all know, well, if you've got a guy out there who's running around and giving 100%, you know, he's going to get liked. So yeah, good on him.
Yeah. James, what about you, mate?
Yeah, he was a sort of player who'd throw his face in front of the ball and his body, and he wouldn't care. Yeah, I liked him growing up. I must admit, I remember little bits of him growing up, but he's Northern Ireland international, and yeah, he was good. He was good for us.
Right, Mike. First question for you. Where did we sign him? Where did we sign him from?
He came from Man City, mate, and I remember him being a good player for City.
Yeah.
But he came from Man City. So I was chuffed when we got him. I was over the moon when we got him.
Yeah. Do you remember the fee?
About 2.5 million, something like that.
See, he don't even need to do his own work, does he? Exactly 2.5 million, mate. Exactly 2.5 million.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't look that. I knew it was too summit, you know.
Yeah. No. Do you remember when he made his debut? I know that's probably pushing it.
Yeah.
0-0 draw, wasn't it?
Yeah.
0-0?
90. I think he joined in about 90. 97.
97, yeah, I think.
Yeah, that's correct. So he made his home. He made his debut, and it was at home, and it was on the 9th of April at home, a 0-0 draw against Middlesbrough. That's when he made his debut. So for this half, he only appeared 7 times in his first season for the club. Obviously, this season was a bit tough for West Ham, and this just proves how much he featured. He featured in the 7 games. He played 90 minutes except for one, and he come off in the 89th minute. So, like what you sort of said, getting that player with that quality and stuff like that, to get a player like that through the line, and we had some good players back then, didn't we? But we just needed the Hartsons and the Lazaridis and stuff because we was in trouble, weren't we, mate?
We were in trouble, yeah. Around that time, we were in trouble. But I mean, a couple of years later, we did very well, you know. And I think was he in the team that our major trophy, won our major trophy.
Yeah, he was, mate. He was the captain as well. Yeah, he
Or
was
one
the
of our
captain.
major trophies.
Yeah.
That was-
Obviously, Harry sort of was known for his wheeler dealers. Obviously, the like of the transfers who he's got in. Obviously, but then he also added the flair. But do you reckon the flair players coming in was down to the likes of Lomas, who would do like what you said, the hard work, and allow the players like Berkovic, Lazaridis, Di Canio to do the legwork for him? Would you sort of agree on that?
yeah, agree on that. I mean, did he play with? Yeah, he did play with Bishop in Moncur. I know, and those two were two of my very favourite players. I mean, in the middle midfield, those two guys were just phenomenal. They work hard, but they had a great touch on the ball. This to get the ball and just spin round and knock it off. Both of them. And I mean, Lomas was a different sort of player than that, so we needed a guy like that.
But no, definitely, mate. But like you said, this season it wasn't didn't really do much. Obviously, played the last 7 games of the season.
Yeah.
Mr. Cox is in the building, but we're going to move on to the next season. So he played 37 times that season, scoring 2 goals and 3 assists. So obviously this was a season when we had the drama of the FA Cups, when we both lost out to Arsenal on both occasions. Obviously, we're here to talk about Lomas, Mike. Obviously, putting you on the spot. Do you remember much about this season, 97-98?
Yeah, I watched a few games that season, I think. It wasn't a great season, I remember. It wasn't brilliant, but
I'm for you.
It's not when we beat Man City in the Cup, was it? No, that's obviously.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Was it? He scored a goal against Man City in the Cup.
Yeah, that's correct.
That very well, but not a hell of a lot more about this season.
And this was the season when he got the winning penalty away to Blackburn. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
So we got that. James, do you remember much of this season, mate, or is it sort of it's a bit hard,
hazy,
isn't it? Like
hazy to me. If you say some things, I might remember some stuff, but it's a bit hazy at the minute.
Yeah. So he scored a few goals that season. One of them was in a 4-1 home win, one of our biggest of the season at home to Crystal Palace. Oh, yeah. And Mike, you probably remember that game was live on telly.
It was
live on telly.
Yeah.
Not only obviously Lomas got on the score sheet. Can you remember who else got on the score sheet that night?
Well, Bishop score. No.
No, that's the bit of the season after now. So Bishop. Yeah.
Kitson, was it? Was it Kitson? Paul Kitson?
No.
No.
We got off with a towering header, and it was the big Welshman John Hartson got the first.
Yeah.
John Hartson got the big goal. He literally just bullied them to hell.
Yeah.
And then the little Israeli Berkovic. Yeah. He got kicked
in the head, but there you go.
Yeah. Well, good job. I'm not doing John Hartson tonight, innit? Another player who I'm not doing an appreciation on him, but I thought we'd done a job. Remember David Unsworth for us as well.
Yeah, it was a good player.
Yeah. He scored another header, so that was a header from there. And the last one was Lomas, who made it 4, and he done the usual. It weren't like Shearer, but he sort of done that that situation there. So yeah, he got a goal in that game. Like you said, he says he wasn't in the squad, so this sort of proves rotation because obviously with the 5 subs only, then like we had a really strong side. So if you weren't really playing well, you would get dropped. The only other goal he scored that season was in a 4-2 loss away to Southampton on that season. This was when he took the armband as well.
Yeah.
Mike, did you sort of, when he signed, did you think he would be a captain, or do you reckon Harry sort of embedded it into him?
Well, I don't know. I think he was that sort of player. He was a leader for sure. I think people listened to him. You know, he was always out there, you know, clenching his fist and wanting to go for it, you know. So, yeah, he had that in him, definitely. Harry must have seen that in him as well.
James, obviously, like I said, I mentioned the players like Hartson, Berkovic, people like that. If you had to pick one, who would you have in this team now? Who's the missing piece in this jigsaw? If you could take one now from that side, everyone else in the chat as well mention, who would you have? I know it's a bit hard because of the era as well. I know it's a bit different because it is a bit quick.
That season we signed. The season before that we signed Kitson and Hartson from to save us because we looked like we was getting relegated. Obviously Berkovic was special. Obviously, was Tim Breaker still there at that time? I think Tim Breaker was still there. Well, but he was coming towards the end. He was decent. But yeah, probably Hartson, mate. Really, a nice big powerhouse forward up front. He would have loved it in this day and age, especially. But well, obviously with VAR, he couldn't do all his elbows that he used to do. But no, he was good. He was good.
But like you said, I know it's in all competitions because you can't really say in the league. This was the year when he got them 24 goals in all competitions as well for us this season. So you can imagine that. Mike, would you sort of agree with Hartson, or would you have anyone else?
Hartson, if we had him now, I mean, yeah. You know, if you can roll back the years and it'd be now, Hartson. I thought he was a great signing when we got him. Kitson was a goal scorer as well, but Hartson, for me, I thought we were lucky to get him from Arsenal. You know, because he was doing okay at Arsenal, and we were lucky to get him, and he did a great job for us. So Hartson would be the pick for me. Yeah,
no, definitely, mate. Obviously, this season was sort of the following season, I should say, is when we kicked on, and obviously this is the year we finished fifth, and obviously, excuse me, Lomas played again a large amount of games in this, including 37 games. Is he? This was obviously when Lampard was bedding in the Joe Coles, the Sinclairs. Do you think that team now is still better than the one we've got now? The one what's finished fifth.
Oh, I don't know. You had some good players then.
Yeah, we had some very good players then. I mean, they're heading towards it. There's not a lot in it. There's not a lot in it, mate.
Di Canio was signing in that year and all, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I think so he would have had him in there and all.
Sinclair, Lazaridis, Keller, Rio, Mark Vivian Foe. Like it's if only you could get them, like if you could at their prime, both of them to have a football match against each other. I'm guessing that would be very tasty.
Was Stimac there? He got Stimac there, or was that later on?
No, I think that was the year after. I think he signed after that. But yeah, no. Like you said, he played 37 times that season. He scored 2 goals. Can you remember any of the goals he scored against?
Probably. Did he score against Man United? One of them.
Bit further on that was, mate. But no,
goal against Man United, but
I can't. I'll be lying if I could tell you.
Yeah, so he scored in the away to Watford in the 2-1 win, and he also scored in the 3-2 away victory to Birmingham in the League Cup, where a certain young Joe Cole scored his first goal, first senior goal for the club as well. So he featured then. Like you said, I know this is like this one's going to be a lot shorter than the other ones who we've appreciated because obviously they're more obviously the current players, and it is a bit different. But Mike, can you forgive him for managing Millwall?
Yeah, it's a tough one, mate, isn't it? I mean, of all the teams to go to, he had to go to Millwall. But yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to forgive him for that one. But hey, You know, the bloke's got to make a living, hasn't he? Yeah.
Well, he didn't do a good job, did he? So I think he'd went there on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, Agent Lomas did a decent job. Yeah, he did.
yeah, no, definitely. This season he finished. The end of April was his last sort of games of the season. It says injuries. Obviously, he got hurt because obviously I think, like you said, the amount of aggression he was. But if you took that aggression away from him, I don't think it would be the player he was. So you sort of had to bite the bullet. And the players that we had in that position, we didn't really miss out from him either, did we?
I must admit, when he was playing with Moncur, I don't know whether Moncur was still there. We're going back, but when Moncur had the ball, Moncur would spray the passes about, not a bit like that way Declan is really, but not as good. You get the ball, pass it from left to right, and he would get stuck in. But with Lomas, he was very aggressive. He'd be in your face. Anyone who he was up against, if one of his players was in a tussle, he'd be the first one in there. You know what I mean? And putting it on them big time. So, yeah, he was a diamond, mate. Really, very underrated from a lot of fans. Like, when you mention players, obviously, you say DiCanio comes to mind straight away. You look at like that, all the youngsters who come through, but you don't ever really mention people like Moncur and Lomas and people like that or even Ian Bishop and Michael Hughes. I'll go back to them eras when Michael Hughes was there. He was a very, very good player. And Lomas was top drawer, mate. Really was.
Yeah. The following season, 2001, millennium, sorry, I should say, until 2001. Mike, he only featured 21 times that season, getting 1 goal. And obviously, this was Harry's last season in charge as manager when we finished in the bottom half of the table. The fact that you, excuse me, only featured 21 times, do you reckon that was the main reason why it was an average season as well?
Yeah, I mean, we were on the slide a little bit then, weren't we? After, it was a bit like after the Almost show, I'm afraid. A few things went wrong, and we were on the slide a bit. And I think, he probably wasn't his best, and we needed him. We needed him to lift the rest of the lads, but it was tough. It was tough, but we had a lot of good players still. We had a lot of top players still.
Mike, you are on mute. Andy, you're on mute, mate.
Sorry, I was coughing away. Sorry. The goal he scored this season was his only one. This game was on Sky as well, and it was against his former club. Can you remember this scoreline?
2-1, was it? Was it 2-1?
4-1.
4-1.
This was 4-1 against Man City.
Man City.
This was a very thingy game with DiCanio. DiCanio was involved heavily. This was probably the last. Did you remember watching Harry Redknapp's Six of the Best?
Yeah.
This was a game on. This was a game on there as well, and
I saw that.
And do you remember a certain player, another former Man City player, playing for him as well?
Bishop.
Yeah, and who did we buy? And who else went on to play for Man City after that?
Oh, should know this. Go on.
From the current crop of players, was it?
Yeah, he moved to Man City after.
Got to be
Two of them
did.
Two of them did in the following season.
Blimey, you're going to do me now. That's going to baffle me.
Ready? Did you give up?
Go on.
Paolo One-Chop and Mark Vivian Foe.
God.
Best in peace, Mark Vivian Foe, obviously.
Yeah. Well, Paolo One-Chop, we can all say nothing about. He was, inconsistent at best.
Very.
Yeah. When we signed him, I thought he was going to be one of the
top players. Yeah, Derby.
Top players. Sorry, Mandy, we'll get a bit distracted. Yeah, is this the best 5 weeks ever as a West Ham fan? Yeah, definitely. definitely.
Best 5 weeks in a long, long time, mate.
And Arsenal for life, Steve Lomas. I remember him under Glen Roeder days. Yeah, we're just getting that. We're getting that. 2 more. The next season that'll be the fantastic days of Glen Roeder, which we're going to get into. And Cyber's in the building, and he's saying hello to you and both of you as well. Obviously, like I mentioned, that was Harry's last season. This is the sort of first season I remember growing up, because a lot of the games started to appear. Do you remember Prem Plus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember paying 15 quid for us to get battered 7-1 away to Blackburn Rovers when we were watching that. This is Glen Roeder's first, which he actually done all right. We finished above Tottenham. We finished in the top half that season. Lomas was heavily involved in the goals. James, you sort of mentioned one goal in particular, which he scored. Do you remember how good that goal was?
Oh yeah, it was a great goal, mate, against Man United.
Yeah.
I think we ended up losing the game 4-2, if I remember rightly. But yeah, it was a good goal. I think did he open the scoring in that game?
Yeah, he opened the scoring. We end up losing 5-3 that day. Yeah, that was when Beckham done them ridiculous lobs and God knows what else. But obviously, facing that Man United side was ridiculous back in the day. But yeah, no, he was injured quite a lot in this season as well. He only played 17 times. 17 times, and he scored 4 goals that season. So this was his best goal record. He scored against Man United, and he scored the following game at home to Ipswich, and then he scored at home in the 3-0 win against Sunderland, and then he scored the last game in the season at home to Bolton. Yeah. So he was very heavily involved in that situation. Obviously, under Glenn, he didn't really, like I said, feature. I think it was mainly to do with injuries as well. But that 2001-2002, obviously Glen Roeder inherited that team. Coles, obviously that was the year. Obviously, Lampard moved on and Carrick stepped up, and I think that was probably one of Carrick's best seasons in a shirt. And obviously we had Nigel Winterburn, Sebastian Schemmel signed on the permanent, Freddie Canute. How good was this side, Mike?
Yeah, good side. Yeah, I saw a few games that season. I think I went away to Arsenal and we got beat 3-0, and it's unusual because I've been to Arsenal a lot of times and seen us win.
Yeah.
I've been lucky. I think we might. Yeah, but I remember it well because Winterburn was playing, and be fair to the Arsenal fans, they did. Do you know what I mean? They give him a good reception.
Yeah, no, definitely. James, do you remember much of this season, mate? Is that sort of a bit?
I do, mate. That to me is the best West Ham side I've seen. Like when you got, we had young Jermaine Defoe coming through. Yeah, we had Carrick, we had Cole, we had Di Canio, we had Canute. Sinclair was still there.
How are you forgetting Laurel Courtois? How are you forgetting him?
I was reading until last. We had
Hayden Fox.
We had Hayden Johnson there,
yeah.
Hayden Fox, the first Ginger Pele we had.
Yeah.
Well, we had a great side in that era, I must admit, and that old saying, "You're never too good to go down." We went down, and we're the only team to ever go down on 42 plus 42 points.
Yeah.
And that side was phenomenal. It was phenomenally good, and that was the season sort of leading up. That obviously the following season, I think we actually did get relegated.
Yeah, we did, mate.
And that was the season where that was a heartbreak, especially for me personally, because I'm seeing all these youngsters coming through. I'm a 15, 16-year-old, so they're just a bit older than me, and then they all start to disappear. And it's a shame, really. But no, that's the best side I've seen. Like, this side's great, don't get me wrong. But when you look at the talent there, all of them went on to win stuff.
Mike, why did we get relegated?
Well, it was just bad luck, mate. It was just bad luck. Was it because who was bottom? Was it Derby County when they had that pathetic amount of points? I can't remember. But
Sunderland, I think it
was
was Sunderland.
Yeah,
Derby was a couple of years after. I
yeah,
think
it was one of those years where like the next two had to get so many points to try and get out of relegation zone. Yeah, it was terrible. I'll tell you a little story, right? I think it's this year. My lad was ball boy for a testimonial game down at Dorchester.
Yeah.
No, it must have been earlier because it was Harry, right? Harry brought him down. Brought down a decent team, right? Or a decent bunch of lads, right? To play this testimonial because Stuart Morgan was an ex-West Ham youth player, right?
Yeah.
Back in the 60s. Well, won't carry on with that. But anyway, so my boys was ball boy and I took them down there and they turned up on the coach. And Ian Bishop was absolutely trolleyed, and so was Lomas.
Right.
They'd been on a golf day, and they came in and like my boys are there waiting for the autographs and whatever. And Harry he was wild with them because they'd been on a golf day. You know, obviously Harry lived in Bournemouth. You know, they had gone out for a golf day first, and then was playing his testimonial. And they come in and they couldn't even stand up. Those two, Lomas. Hammered. Oh yeah.
We'll save the stories for Romford for another night as well.
Yeah, it was funny, but yeah, I remember because the foe scored a hat trick, and he was a young lad then. He was just coming through, and you could see this guy he had ability. Yeah, he could finish. There was no doubt about it.
Obviously, James, I know it's easier said than done. Could you work out why we did get relegated? Do you reckon it was just luck, or do you reckon it was just the manager?
Bolton, wasn't it, mate? It was just Bolton went on that run, and we went on a run. And I think the game really, if you ever go back and look into it deeply, the game at Bolton was massive. I can't remember the scoreline there, but
we lost 1-0 when it was Mr. Okocha who scored the screamer.
Yeah, and I think if we would have got the point, I think we might have stayed up. And we went on an amazing run, mate, in the end. Like, when you think about it, we beat Chelsea, we've beaten all the big boys. We had like Champions League form. How we're playing there, that's how we was doing it towards the end. But no, that was heartbreak, mate. I'll never forget that day. I was just the last game against Birmingham, seeing all the players out there. I think we drew the game 2-2, if I remember rightly. And it was a choker because what it was back then, you knew that all of them would have been gone. Do you know what I mean? It was like Glenn Johnson had just come through the ranks. He was flying. Carrick stayed for a little while. Defoe, obviously, Di Canio, you see him break down against Chelsea because he knew it's his final game, basically, against at Upton Park before the Birmingham game, and he went on to go and play for Charlton. And it was just one of them, Andy, wasn't it? Let's be honest. As youngsters growing up, and even Mike can sort of probably relate to it. It was just unlucky circumstances. It will never happen again. A team will never go down on 40 points ever again. Like, it was just, it had to be one team.
When you just look at the average goes down on like between 20 and 30, do you know what I mean? Like that's the average, and it will never happen again. But obviously,
it was sad because Trevor Brooking took the last few games, didn't he? And I really felt. I felt so bad for Trevor Brooking because it hurt him as much as it hurt anyone.
And that, if you ever go back and watch that final game at Birmingham, and when you actually see him get relegated, he's just deflated because he knows how much it meant. Do you know what I mean? But it's just, do you know what? Maybe in some things are meant to happen for a reason. Well, I know this happens just from then, but you do learn things over time. And do you know what I mean? And like, to go down on 42 points is outrageous, isn't it? Let's be honest.
It's just bad luck, mate. It was just pure bad luck.
Yeah, no, definitely. The following season, obviously, this was a season where we lost to Palace in the playoff final, but you wouldn't believe it. But Lomas only played 7 games that season for the club.
If I remember rightly, did we sign? I don't think we'd Hayden Mullins at the time.
Yeah, we did. Carrick stayed this season. Carrick stayed this season as well.
Yeah.
Was Nigel Rio-Coker there? No. We
bought him as well. So.
Somewhere,
Joby McAnuff.
Yeah,
we,
mate. Yeah.
we had David Noble and Mark Noble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The two Nobles.
Yeah. No, definitely. So he played the last. He played the last 5 games of that season. Didn't play in the playoff. Didn't play in the playoff finals, but he did. He did feature then. But the following season was the year, obviously, we got up, and he played 25 times that year.
Yeah.
He actually played a. He played a big, massive part. But he. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, because it sort of doesn't say the reason. His last game for the club was 15th of March for that season. Did he get an injury?
I think he got injured. If I
Was it?
remember rightly, I think he had picked up an injury. Yeah, I do. Yeah,
I'll Google it. He
I
must
think-
have.
yeah, I think he picked up an injury then. Yeah.
That was the season. The season we went up. That was the season when Teddy Sheringham was with us, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he started banging in the goals. And
That one, beat Preston, wasn't it?
yeah, and Bobby Zamora scored. And
More against Preston, yeah.
And that was
Yeah,
the year. And that was the year Jimmy Walker saved Frank Lampard's penalty.
Yeah, it was.
He likes to be reminded about that. I messaged him obviously the other day, and he replied, and he went, "That put a big smile on my face." Bless him. But obviously, that was his last year for us, gents. Like I said, this one's a bit different. This was just more of a recap to sort of talk about. We sort of went by season. But Mike, is there anything what we've missed that you wanted to talk about? Maybe I know you've mentioned that golf day, but was there any like memories? What slips to mind? Like I don't know, because
the games I remember seeing him play live, and I just always remember him. You know, when he was going in for a tackle, he went in for a tackle.
Yeah.
There was no holding back, mate. I mean, when he went in, there was sparks flying. You know, it was like Billy Bonds used to. You know, and but he always gave it everything, and I think that's why I liked him. And you know, most of the crowd always got behind him. But he did pick up an injury. I remember when he picked that injury up, and it was a shame, really. But he was always going to pick up injuries the way he played.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you understand why he doesn't get the credit he deserves?
He's not the most flamboyant player, is he?
Right.
He's your traditional workhorse type player. He gets stuck in. He's tenacious, throw his face about, throw his body about. But he doesn't get the recognition that some of them do. But then there's some players who still don't get the recognition, like people like Ian Bishop and Michael Hughes and people like that. I just think maybe it was because it's fan favourites, isn't there? Everyone's got their own sort of fan favourites, and I think when you look at Steve Lomas, he was a good player for us, but there was players who sort of outshone him, so to speak.
Yeah, no, definitely. Are you? I'm sort of spoiling it. Do you want to know who our next one is?
Go on, put it.
Do you really want to know? do you really want to know?
Really, really want to know.
Are you ready? Are you ready for it? I'm just going to put him up on screen in a second because he is one of my most favourite players.
Ah, good.
Do you reckon you know who he is?
Well, it's either Julian Dix or I'm going to say Julian Dix, DiCanio, or someone like Scott Parker or something like that.
No, you're wrong, Mike.
I was going to say Julian Dix, mate. I thought it was nailed on Julian Dix, but
Are you ready? Are you ready for who it is?
Go on then.
1, and let's see if anyone in the chat's got it. Ready? 3. No one got in the chat. Hey!
Yeah, hero.
But
Hayden Fox.
Yeah, obviously he had 2 spells at the club, and to this day I still don't understand how he never got a testimonial.
No, that is right, mate. I mean, that is not right. I think it should still be done. I think they've got to do something still. I mean,
I think
it's not too late. It is too late, but it's not too late to still do something.
I don't think it's so much the testimonial that's the problem here. I think it was
It's the
the
way
way
he
he
went.
it's the way he went by a text saying thanks for your service, good night.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, he was very good, mate. Obviously, come from Cardiff, didn't he, with Gabardon, and to me, to this day, that's the two best centre halves I've seen at West Ham. I've seen some other good ones. I've seen like obviously players in the past, and like I went to Alvin Martin's testimonial before he retired, and that was the first game or one of the first games I actually went to. But yeah, him and Gabs we stole them from Cardiff, and they were absolute first class pair of them.
Yeah, so like I said, we're actually having a break next week because our new series starts next week. So this was sort of a thing, but we'll be in touch for you guys as well. Obviously, this is the kits. We're finally getting that started. So our first show's next Sunday, where we've got people. So literally, I think we've got like 10 days of people who are lined up. So we'll be in touch with you guys as well. So that's your homework. Everyone in the chat as well. If you want to come on and do it, literally, me and Jazz, we've got time for everyone, and we'll pencil it in. So the rule is, it's the West Ham Reunited fives, and you have to pick your 5 most favourite kits. The only rule is you have to be alive to see them play.
Yeah.
And if you've even got pictures with them kits on, send them to us, and we'll put them up in the live chat as well, because it might be like, I don't know, when you was a baby or your first game you went to. Do you know what I mean? This is all about making memories. So that's what that's what's starting on Sunday night. So which I'm really, really, really looking forward to. So that's your homework, gentlemen. So your homework is Ginger Pele and your 5, but you got a week off. So don't get detention.
Try not, mate. You know what? Don't want me to model those kits here. I can go out of the room and change and come back in with a different shirt on.
Yeah, no, definitely. Look, here we go. Look, I've got loads. Yeah. We're on Twitter, mate. 1 sec. Let me I didn't put the banner up today. Yeah, look, at West Ham Reunited. If you put it in there, but send them over. Send them over to there. Look, it's just coming on across the screen at West Ham Reunited, and we'll get all the stuff there. Yeah, I've got to find it again. I've got it. So the Great Escape season, I've got the Reebok one, Carlos Tevez, and Mike. I don't think I could even get my arm in it. That's how small it was.
Just put it over your head, mate.
Yeah. Oh, God. Be like Lycra, but gone wrong.
Your lovely face or anything, mate.
And it's got the gold writing on the back. Tevez with the gold writing as well.
Has it? Oh well, no, I haven't got that. But hey.
Yeah, no, definitely. But no, like I said, gents, thanks for coming on. I know this was a bit of a not as well. I say not exciting, but it's like you said, it's all about making memories and appreciation for a player who I thought didn't get the credit he deserves, but. The next one, obviously, it won't be this Tuesday. It'll be the Tuesday after. Ginger Pele, do your homework on that, and we'll be in touch for the kits. But it's been a pleasure, Mike. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Great. Enjoyed it, mate. As always, a pleasure.
Yeah. And, of course, James, it's been a pleasure as always. Thanks for coming on, obviously, earlier as well. It means a lot. And
no worries, mate.
And people who do fantasy football, Jazz and Mike on a Monday show will be starting tomorrow. His fantasy football show. So if you do that, make sure you tune in. I'm actually got a night off tomorrow.
Enjoy, mate.
Enjoy. And thanks for everyone in the chat. And last thing for me is take care and come on, you irons. Take care, everyone. Speak to you later. Bye.
See you later.